Welcome to the first episode of Wallo Daily. I got the one, the only, Melly Mel.
Let's fucking go!
I got Melly Mel right here. Listen, this is not regular. Listen, this is special. This is not nothing regular. Listen, see, y'all know her as Mel something else. I know her as Melly Mel. I don't even use her last name. I just use Melly Mel. See, that's what they used to call her back in the day. They used to call her Melly Mel back in the day. Who started calling you Melly Mel first?
Oh, it was Jody. Jody Bricken called me Melly Mel. And like it was literally in like 6th grade, Melly Mel.
So listen, I know something. We go back like car seats, but that's another story. But what we're going to talk about is the power of discipline. The power of discipline and finding a team, right? We're going to start with the power of discipline.
Okay.
Now tell me, like, when did you become disciplined? When did you lock in? When did you lock in and lock the BS out? When was that?
I honestly learned discipline by teaching myself how to get out of bed on the days I didn't feel like getting out of bed. Like that is a habit that pays you millions in spiritual energy, in power, in peace, because let's just like unpack the metaphor. When that alarm rings,
okay,
you know what you need to do. Mm-hmm. You're the one who set the alarm. You also know how to get out of bed because you've been doing it your whole life and the mechanics are somewhat simple. But in that moment, when the alarm rings and you know what you need to do and you know how to do it, this is the moment of discipline. Because the only thing that will stop you from having discipline in your life is if you are emotionally weak. If in that moment when you know what you need to do, you hesitate and you then stop and go, well, how do I feel about getting out of bed? Yeah. You know, I don't like, I'm exhausted. I've got so many bills to pay. My life is a nightmare. I'd rather just like go back to sleep.
You put the blanket back?
Yeah, put the blanket back on.
You put the blanket on.
I don't want to get up anymore.
And now you just like, but you supposed to been up 10 minutes.
You are literally, you are ruled by your emotions in the moment. And if you are ruled by your emotions in the moment, you will have no discipline in your life. Because discipline requires you to do what you don't feel like doing, simply because you need to do it.
Continuously.
Yes. Like it is that simple. Discipline is doing what you need to do when you don't feel like it, when you're anxious, when you're tired, when you're depressed, when you're scared. That's what discipline is. Mm-hmm. It's the mornings that you don't feel like exercising and you exercise that make you who you are. It's the phone calls that you make when you don't feel like making them that grow your business. It is the clients that you fire because even though you're afraid that you might not be able to replace them, that creates more abundance in your business. And if you just did the things you don't feel like doing, you'd have everything you wanted. Just stop and think about that. Because all the people that have everything that you want, all the things that Wallo has, it required him to do things that he might not have felt like he could do. He had to push through the emotion, through the thinking, through the resistance. That's what discipline is. It's action over emotion. It is act, don't think. And you have to do it over and over. And you can train yourself to have a habit of discipline by picking one thing that you need to do every day that you hate doing, that you don't feel like doing, that you have a lot of emotion around. It could be that, for me, I still hate getting out of bed. To this day, I've been practicing this for 16 years now. I learned how to do this on a Tuesday morning in February 2008. To this day, I still hate getting out of bed. When I wake up in the morning, I am still, like, I don't feel like it. I don't want to. The bed is like, go. It's your ability to do it and not just think and not have all the emotion. Fuck the emotion. Like you say that, fuck them.
You fuck them.
Fuck them. Because the emotion is going to be there. But the funny thing about having the discipline to take action is that all that emotion that's stopping you now basically disappears within 10 to 15 seconds of you doing it. Like you could lay in bed for 2 hours in the morning and scroll on the phone. It's not making you money. You're watching other people live their lives. Your first decision of the day was to procrastinate. And I get it. Like there are going to be those mornings where you feel scared, where you have lots of problems, where you're hungover, where you don't want to face the day. I certainly have been there. And those feelings are real, and they can be heavy, and it can feel like a gravity blanket. but they are stopping you from feeling and acting to the full potential of your life. And I didn't learn this until I was in my 40s. Like, I wish I knew this when if you're in your 20s and you're watching this right now, you will 10x your income if you can learn how to make yourself do things that you don't feel like doing.
Now,
that's the secret to life.
But when did that alarm clock come on and you said, I'm in my 40s, I'm ready to make this shit happen? How was that?
When did like the afterburners turn on?
Yeah, when it come on, the alarm clock of, it's time. I'm in my 40s something. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to count myself out. I'm ready to turn this shit up to another level.
Well, you have a level of motivation and the way that you talk that I did not have when I was 41. So I was $800,000 in debt.
Okay.
Liens on the house, bills this high. I was unemployed. My husband had gone into the restaurant business and it was not working. And we had secured it with everything that we owned. Friends had invested, family had invested, and I didn't know what to do. And so in life, people change for one of two reasons: because you're in pain or because you get really clear.
But hold on, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Was the food good in the restaurant?
It was amazing.
It was?
Yes.
Well, what was the issue?
Well, the issue was pretty typical with restaurants, that out of the first kind of 5 locations of any restaurant, at least 2 or 3 are going to fail. That's just the numbers. And so the first one was good. It was a little pizza joint. And when the first one's good, you can kind of get full of yourself. Yeah, you're like, oh, okay, what's possibly going to go on? Let's go. Okay.
We're the next McDonald's.
Yeah, let's cash out the 401k. Let's cash out the money we put away for the kids. Let's get a home equity line because that's free money. Let's find every credit card we can and let's just charge up everything we can. Well, then all of a sudden, 2007 and 2008 hit, and there's a huge recession and everything turned upside down. And here in Boston, there were 5 nor'easters over the weekend, these big storms that shut everything down, which means all of a sudden the cash registers start ringing. Payroll checks start to bounce, collectors start to call, liens hit the house. The second location failed within like 8 weeks of it opening up. Like, it was horrific.
Nightmare.
And I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning, Wallo, and says, you know what I'm going to do today? I think today I'm going to fuck up my life. I think that's what I'm going to do. Like, I don't think anybody like intentionally does that.
No.
But slowly you make decisions. And you talk a lot about this. You start making decisions that aren't consistent with the person that you know that you are. You start going along with the dream versus living in the reality. You start believing your own bullshit instead of really calling yourself out on it. And so there were all kinds of decisions that we made that led us off track, and there was also a lot of shitty things that happened in life that just weren't fair. Bad timing, like just all kinds of things. And so, in life, every one of us is going to have a moment, you've had plenty of them, where you call this like looking in the mirror and really being honest with yourself. And I realized that nobody was going to come and fix us. That if I wanted the liens off the house, if I wanted to pay for groceries, if I wanted to put gas in the tank, if I wanted to fix this situation, I had to stop drinking myself into the ground and screaming at my husband. I had to look in the mirror and say, if you actually want it, prove it. And don't prove it by thinking about it. Don't prove it by making notes about it. Prove it by fucking doing something. And the one decision that I made was I have to get out of bed when the alarm rings, because I have to stop laying there and staring at the ceiling and telling myself that there's nothing I can do. Because there's always something you can do. It doesn't fix the situation you're in. It doesn't remove the pain that you feel immediately. But it is a turning point. Because when you do something that you keep talking yourself out of, and for me it was getting out of bed and getting the kids on the bus. Like, literally, it was so bad. You want to know how you're feeling at parenting? Your kids who are in elementary school wake you up because they've missed the bus.
Oh, man.
And you are asleep in the chair in the living room because you fell asleep because you had too much bourbon last night. That's how you know you're failing at life. And so for me, this sense of I have to pull myself together. I have to do it for my kids. I have to get them on the bus. I have to stop screaming at Chris. Nobody's coming. I got to be honest. I'm responsible for this mess too. And laying here is not helping, and I don't know if getting up when the alarm ring is going to fix this, but I got to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'm going to get more of the same. And the same is too painful. And that's how it started. And in terms of the get up and go, and I got to do this, I just wanted to pay my bills. I needed to buy groceries. I needed to do something. And so I just pushed through the fear. I picked up the phone. I hate calling people. I picked up the phone. I need a job. I start telling people what's going on. One decision at a time. All of the shit I'd been avoiding doing for a year, I just slowly started to align myself back with being the person I want to be. And I couldn't even imagine what the future could look like. All I could see is I'm just going to do like the things I don't feel like doing because avoiding them is making it worse. And that's how it started. That's how it started.
Now, what was the first move that you made to build this empire?
Oh, well, getting out of bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, so the way that I taught myself to get out of bed is I was drunk on bourbon. This is a true story.
Go ahead.
And I was giving myself that pep talk. You know, have you ever done that? But tomorrow, it's the new you.
Yeah, it's up.
Tomorrow,
it's on.
It's on. Tomorrow I'm getting the job. Tomorrow I'm exercising. Tomorrow I'm going to stop screaming at my husband. Tomorrow I am going to get out of bed when that alarm rings. And all of a sudden this rocket ship launches across a television screen. And I have this crazy idea. And the idea is, that's it. That's a sign from God. Tomorrow morning, when that alarm rings, you're going to launch yourself out of bed like a rocket. You're going to move so fast, you're not going to be in that bed when that anxiety and that depression pins you there. Now, look, it was probably the 4 bourbon Manhattans that gave me that idea.
He wasn't playing.
But that next morning, this is the insight that changed my whole life and the way I think about everything. There's a 5-second window that defines your whole life. It's this moment of hesitation. And once you see it, you'll never see your life the same again. It's this moment where you have this instinct, whether it's a moment of courage or confidence or you just know what you need to do. You got to make the call. You got to break up. You got to quit the job. You got to apply for the job. You got to get over your own bullshit. But what happens is you then stop and think about how you feel about doing it. So the alarm rang, and I immediately remembered that dumb idea of launching myself out of bed. And instead of just 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 doing it, I stopped and I started to think, how do I feel about getting out of bed? And inside this 5-second moment of hesitation, this is where the anxiety comes in. This is where the self-doubt comes in. This is where all the negative self-talk comes in. If you think about something that you need to do for more than 5 seconds, within 5 seconds, all your habits, all the subconscious take over, and you just do the same old shit you've always done. And for whatever reason that morning, as I was laying there going, I don't feel like getting out of bed. We're $800,000 in debt. I hate my life. I hate my fucking husband. I hate, like, what? I just started counting backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I stood up. And that was the beginning of a completely new life. See, you change your life with one decision. And the decision that changed my life was deciding to get out of bed on a morning when I didn't feel like it. And your life, though, changes over time. Because as you continue to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you make the call, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You walk into the bank and open the account, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You say, I am so sick of this shit and the way I've been living my life, I'm making a change. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm putting down the alcohol. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm telling people what's going on. I'm asking for help. One decision at a time, you change your life. And over time, the results show up. And what most of us get wrong is we think the results are going to show up immediately. See, consistency is the ability to do things that are boring and grueling and not sexy while nobody's watching before there are any results. The results take time, but the change happens with every decision. And so for me, I just used this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 thing in secret for 3 years. And I never told anybody but my husband because I didn't know why it worked. And one decision at a time, just chipping away at it like a normal person does. I just kept doing it, and whether it was exercise or it was not drinking so much or it was applying for 3 jobs and then working 3 jobs and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, don't scream at my husband. He's doing the best that he can.
Yes.
Like just constantly aligning myself with the person I knew I was versus this raging bitch I had become. Because when you're afraid, it's easier to be angry than to feel the fear. And so I was angry, even though I was responsible, just as responsible for this mess as my husband was. But I was turning him into the enemy. So I used it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, check my own energy and anger and reset and act in a way that was different. And like you talked about that TEDx talk. Mm-hmm. I've heard you talk about it. I got invited to do a TEDx talk. I didn't know what TED was. I got offered a free hotel.
He said, who is Theodore?
Yeah, and when by the way, you were getting paid at that time. By this point, I still have liens on my house. It's 2011.
Oh, man.
They offered a free hotel room in San Francisco and 2 plane tickets. You know what that is when you're broke? That's a vacation.
That's a vacation.
Correct.
You got a meal? Y'all throwing a meal in there too?
Yeah,
They gonna have food at the event?
Yes,
Green
exactly.
room?
Yes. Well, I didn't know any of this stuff, so I'd never given a speech. I was not going to give a talk on the 5-second rule. My friend had called me and said, hey, they're doing this thing. They're looking for somebody to change their jobs a lot. And I thought of you because you've changed your job so much, woman. I'm like, I don't think that's a compliment, but okay.
Yeah.
So I do that 18-minute talk, and at the end of it, I forget how to end it.
So you just up there like?
I literally go, and then there's this thing I do. I call it the 5-second rule. The moment you have an instinct to act, you got to move in 5 seconds or else your brain will kill it. Thank you very much. I gave out my email, and I left.
And what
happened?
Tell me about the email.
Okay, well, let me tell you what happened. A year goes by, nothing happened. I'm back in my life here. I am working 2 or 3 jobs. My husband is getting out of the restaurant business, and he is depressed and just feeling full of shame because he feels like as a man he did not provide for his family. And he's embarrassed that I'm out there having to do all this stuff. So a year goes by. It's 2012. And Ted puts the TEDx talks online. I don't know this. I'm still working
it never came out back then?
No.
Oh, I'm thinking it came out and you just like...
No. I'm just living my life, working my jobs, paying my bills. And then all of a sudden people start to reach out at that email. And they start to reach out to me on Facebook. And I'm like, wait, how do you know about the 5-second rule? Were you in San Francisco? And they're like, no, I saw it online. Online?
Where?
Yeah, where is it online? And so it started to go viral. And by 2013, people started to call me and ask me if I would come talk for free. Now, I didn't know normal people got paid to speak.
Yes.
And so I was a dumbass that went to all these
events. You gonna give me a plane in the middle? I come.
Yeah, no, I literally was like, okay, I'll come. I'll come redo that talk. And I did 7 talks for free in 2013. And somebody came up to me at one of the conferences and said, Mel, I spoke in the morning. Can I ask you a question, speaker to speaker? And I said, sure. And they said, did you get paid yet? Get your check? I'm like,
what check?
Yeah, you're getting paid? And they said, wait, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you weren't getting paid. And that was the moment where I thought, I'm a real idiot. And I don't know what to pay, and I don't have a book, and I'm not famous, and what do you charge? And so here's a trick I want you to steal if you don't know what to charge. I said to myself, the next time somebody calls, I'm going to take a beat, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm going to say, I think I'm available. What's your budget? And then I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to say, normally I'm double, and see what they say. So 2 weeks later, a guy calls me and he says, my wife has seen your thing online and her company is having a big sales conference. Can we hire you? And I took a beat and I said, what's your budget? And he said $10,000 and I dropped the phone. I had no idea people got paid that much. That was 3 months of my mortgage.
Man.
And so I forgot the second part. And I felt so nervous because I didn't feel worthy of that kind of money because we were so in debt. This was 2014.
You couldn't believe it.
I could not believe it that I spent half of it with a graphic designer to help me create a PowerPoint presentation that looked good. And that was the best decision I could ever make because it forced me to prepare. And there are moments in your life where you are at bat that really matter. And oftentimes you don't know until they're over that was it. And you want to be damn sure you're clear about who you are and what you want when that happens or you miss the moment. And I stepped on that stage and I delivered the speech of a lifetime. And the guy who had booked me came up to me afterward and he said, I got to tell you something. I've been in the business booking speakers for 20 years. You're the single best female speaker I've ever seen and probably top 2 of all time. And he said, who runs your business? And I said, you do. And he has run my speaking business ever since. And within 2 years, I was the most booked female speaker in the world.
Damn.
I said yes, because I was clear, I need to be free from the debt. I need to rebuild our savings. I need to, and so many people were writing to the email, I lost 100 pounds using 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I turned my life around. I'm sober. I didn't jump off a bridge because I stopped myself and asked for help. And it was so overwhelming how many people were using this that I then were like, I gotta research this and write a book. And so using the stories of people that had written in around the world, I started researching why does this work and self-published my first book in 2017. And that was the 5-second rule. And now here we are 8 years later. And one of the reasons why I think that I am one of the most successful podcasters in the world.
Yeah.
And I am probably one of the most successful audiobook publishers in the world is because one of the first jobs I got when I learned how to get out of bed in 2008 is I auditioned for a Saturday morning radio show here in Boston. Paid $25 an hour. So I missed town soccer every morning on Saturdays. And I went to a radio station not far from here. And I would just host a 2-hour show. And that show became a lifeline because I could talk about what's going on in the world. I could take calls from strangers.
Yeah.
I could forget about my life for a little bit. And I also understood that the advertisers, like I paid for my kids to have braces by reading ads for a dentist here in Boston.
Yes.
And I was really good at it. And I loved it. And that show grew, and I ended up getting an audition for WSB in Atlanta on a Sunday night. And then that show grew. And then I got an audition for a 5-day-a-week radio show that was based in Orlando. And then something horrible happened. Trayvon Martin was murdered. Yeah. And as a public defender, I started covering that case 5 days a week. And the trial was in Sanford, and I flew down and sat in that courtroom behind Trayvon's family every day. And the coverage had me win an enormous award in radio broadcasting for outstanding host. And that caught the attention of CNN. And CNN then called and hired me, and I became a legal commentator for CNN covering some of the biggest social justice cases of our time. It was an enormous honor, and it was as that was happening that the speaking was taking off.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it all started.
Now, see, you did all that, but how do you build this team? How was you able to build a team? Like, what was your...
Well, hold on a second. So 3 years ago when we started the podcast, in the floor of my closet in Vermont, we didn't have offices. Like I was still like mostly a speaker, and we were doing a lot of productions because I had been in stages in front of corporations forever.
Yeah.
You know, we were doing lots of things for LinkedIn, and Starbucks hired me. Do you remember when those 2 gentlemen were arrested in Philly and they shut down the company for a huge day of training globally for Starbucks? They brought in 3 people to come in and teach. I was one of them.
Okay.
And so that led to creating other programming for Starbucks. We've done 7 or 6 original productions for Audible for their subscribers. We've built the largest and most successful course on LinkedIn out of 30,000 courses. So
all independent.
All independent. So my company is a production company that corporations would hire and partner with, and we'd create stuff for them because it's closely tied to the speaking that I was doing. But I decided I really wanted to go back to radio. I wanted to have longer conversations. I wanted to create something that we owned versus creating it for corporate partners. And so when I started the podcast 3 years ago, we had, I think, 6 or 7 full-time people that worked for us. And my goal was that if we could break in the top 100, once within the first year of doing this, it would be a success. Because
on Apple.
Yeah, just once.
Once.
Just once. And you'd have to have a level of narcissism and arrogance to step into the podcasting space and think that you could dominate.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do it because I really wanted to have longer conversations. And the vision, we're here in Boston, this is where we raised our kids, was Boston is the world's home of higher education. How cool would it be to have a Boston-based podcast where people could just hop on an e-bike from Harvard or MIT or BC and come on over and teach a class? But it's a podcast episode. And that was kind of the vision. It would be a walk with a friend, only we're joined by people like you that can inspire us and that we can learn from, and we can give this information to free for people. Out of the gate, we were in the top, we debuted at number 2. We have been in the top 20 podcasts in the world ever since. We've had 500 million downloads in 3 years. We've had more than 115 million hours spent listening and watching to this podcast. We're in 183 countries. And I think we're just getting started. But the bigger thing is that it makes a global impact in people's lives. And so as things grew, like the important thing about me as a business person is I do every single job before I hire the person that I need to replace myself with.
Okay.
So there's not a job in this company except for maybe some of the more technical things that I haven't done myself, whether it's taking out the trash, whether it's sitting up at 1 o'clock in the morning and trying to, go through transcripts, whether it's uploading the software, whether it's trying to learn AI.
Yeah.
Like that's a very important thing, to actually understand the aspects of your business. And then as soon as you understand it, replace yourself so that you can be in the right seat in the bus, because there's one seat in the bus for you that only you can do. And if you're not in that seat, you're not making the money and having the impact that you could have. And that's the hardest thing for entrepreneurs to understand, is when it's time to eject yourself from the role that you're in so that you can stay focused on the role that you need to play.
So you ain't think about opening a restaurant back up?
Oh my God, no. No.
You in that restaurant, you was like, oh, nice.
Well, plus I grew up.
The food was good,
I
though.
always had a job as a kid. So always, I was always working. And so I worked in restaurants. I worked in the back of the house, the front of the house, the
Everywhere.
fryer, the
Dishes,
bar back,
everywhere.
everything.
Prep,
so my
cook.
husband was like, I want to open a pizza restaurant. I'm like, you're out of your mind. No. He won. He opened one.
But the food was actually good.
The food was fantastic. The business plan was not.
Do you think that's what happened to most businesses? Is it the business plan? Is it the owner? Like, what you think the reason for most businesses?
I think businesses are so complicated that there's so many factors that go into it. But the number one thing that I believe defines success is, are you willing to not quit? Are you willing to keep going? It's you against you. You say this all the time. Nobody can take it away from you.
No.
You can take it away from yourself. And I do believe that success really does come to people who just are patient. You got to give up your timeline. You got to put your head down. You got to be willing to do the boring, sucky, unsexy work that you're not getting paid for. And you got to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it. And eventually, someday you'll look up and go, oh my God, look at what I've done.
I got your next book title.
Tell me.
She just said a legendary book title.
What is it?
Give Up Your Timeline.
Ooh.
That's
a good one.
Major, because it deals with right now. And on the cover, you just had like different font, like finger strolling. Like, give up. That is destroying people. That is having people stack that timeline, because you got comparison. You worry about that. Give up your timeline.
Yep. If you give up your timeline, you actually can't fail, because you're the one that gave a deadline to when you were supposed to succeed. If you remove it, then of course you're going to succeed. Because if you haven't reached where you're supposed to be, you're just not there yet.
You're done. Well, we ready to get up out of here, right? And
yeah, you got a plane catch.
This right here, check this out.
Buy this book.
You already got this one. I'm pretty sure millions of people got this one right here. Check this out right here. It's coming.
Right here.
It's coming. Yes to you, no to them. But listen, we out of here.
And I'm going to tell you, pre-sales matter. So here's the thing. If you're sitting there watching this for free on YouTube, One way that you can support somebody who shows up and supports you is you can support this book, because when pre-sales start happening, people write about the book, people book him for other shows. He shows up tirelessly for you. You watch his content, you sit here on your ass and you watch it for free. You need to pay him back and you need to support this book. And he won't say that to you, so I will.
I will say it.
Good night.
Go get listen, go get it, go get it, go get it, go get it. And her new book is coming out, Quit Your Timeline. We out of here. Wallo Daily.